come once again to discuss things.
That's funny. Alright. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geek Gentleman Fan Film Reviews. I am Super2, joining me today is...
A geek for fun, who is not here of his own free will, I assure you.
Yeah, Alfie's having a bad time, and why is Alfie having a bad time?
Because we're doing a Harry Potter thing.
Are you just upset about the portrayal of the English in this? Are you mad that like they didn't talk about like also what and drones on the sky?
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of fun this episode. This is very set the stage. But yeah, we're doing a fan film that you picked out called The Tale of Three Brothers from Charlotte Hawkins.
Mm-hmm. This was just one. If you go back and listen to last week, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I gotta come up with a watch later playlist where I put all these. This one, I stumbled across it, God knows how many years ago, and now it's just in there. And so let's talk about this. Sometimes all these aren't like they're fan films by their nature. They're not all super high budget, we got a Kickstarter and this one has Thomas Jane in it kind of situations. Sometimes they are just the guys in their backyard or whatever, and you gotta kind of I actually have, I think, more fun talking about those because I think there's just more to learn about like the nature of a fan project from those. And it makes the good ones they're not that this is bad. It makes the like really high tier ones stand out all the more because I feel like the high tier ones have saturated things so much and for the better that the stuff like this kind of gets forgotten about. And I quite like things like this. This is actually a pretty old fan film now. I was looking at it. This is 9 years old according to YouTube, so it probably have been late 2011 or 2012 or something when it came out, which does line up with the seventh and sixth movie pretty well. No, 7 and 8, yeah, 7 and 8 movie, pretty well because there was a lot going on with that, and so it would have timed out relatively well. But yeah, just checking this out, I thought it was an interesting little dive. I thought it was a pretty strong choice for the kind of thing to do for a fan film from Harry Potter. Harry Potter is obviously a very, very big, very expansive kind of world where you see it in the films, you read it in the books, there's a lot going on. There's not very like many minimalist things happening in Harry Potter. It is a magical world where the magic is a big part of everyday life, and so to pick what to do as a fan project and make it something that is this translatable to a very small budget thing, I think is a good choice on their part. But I've kind of gone on for a while, so I'm curious, Alfie, putting your despisal of the Harry Potter franchise to the side for a sec. What'd you think of this?
So I kind of have the same thing with you, where I like the crudeness of some fan films, or kind of just like the lack of polish on them, like the earnestness of them. Is appealing to me, in the sense of just, again, you can talk a lot about like lessons to learn, logistical things of like, it's closer to something that most people are able to do. Just pick up a camera and a couple of friends, and it lets you learn those lessons on the fly and the complications of the stuff that arises in there. So I definitely did enjoy the energy that this had about that. this is part of the final year of someone's production degree. So I don't even want to. I want to look at it in the sense of that as well, mostly of just like this is a passion project, but it's also a thing that was meant to be like a passing grade. Like this is meant to be something a teacher would look at and be analyzing and stuff like that. So I think there's good display on this in terms of just probably the highest quality thing of this is just how it's shot. In terms of it's not anything remarkable or anything like even ahead of the curve, but I think a lot of people underestimate like how hard it is to actually shoot things just competently so that it tells the story, so that you can have people in focus, that you can have like characters in the foreground and the background. The logistics of that is something I think a lot of people don't really take into account. So the fact that this pulls this off and there's nothing that's like incomprehensible, you can follow this, you can follow the narrative very easily. The cuts make sense, the shot choices make sense, like everything about that works. Is probably the thing I have to give just a like, if I was the teacher on this, that is the thing I would give like the highest, like you did a good job directing it for what you had and the resources you had and the level of experience. Outside of that though, the acting is definitely just friends doing their best and going along. The deaf actor is definitely my favorite because they're the one who looks like they're having the most fun. Everyone else is kind of just giving that very British school film level of acting where everyone looks very sad and serious and
Yeah, the acting's probably the hardest down point on this, because again, it's one of those things where like you're right, the way this is shot is pretty good. I not just like the visual of how it was shot, where the camera is, your placements and stuff like that, but like this has pretty decent location scouting. I understand a lot of it's shot in the woods, certainly. But I mean, commendations for that, because you didn't have to make that choice. You could have made poorer choices than that. But like the little tavern they get, that has like a very old feel to it. It looks kind of timeless, which is what you want for this. And even the scene where the guy resurrects his like lost love, I can tell because of one of the windows that it's a modern building, because one of the windows you can see like the outline of one of the crank openings. But like honestly, if you had just gone in After Effects and masked over that one little part or something, and or if like you had just caught that on the day and blocked that out just a little bit more, rotated it that little extra so it wouldn't be in the shot, and maybe that was the best they could do. Like just the location of that is it's just a dark room with some windows that look outside, and that's very effective. Like the number of times I see people, shoot something in their house, and they try to sell like their kitchen as a bar or something, and I'm like, no, don't, you're not doing it right. The move is always, you have so much strength in the power of a brick or a white wall, because then it can be anywhere, and that's kind of what they did with that dark room lit with windows. Like that, just it doesn't matter that this is shot in 2011, 2012, whatever, because it looks like, as far as the building and location and everything, yeah, everything in here could be in the Middle Ages. Everything in here is believable enough. But yeah, you're right. The acting is the hardest pill to swallow. The deaf actor, you're right. He's having the most fun, but like he probably shouldn't be having that much fun. It's it's a little at odds with the piece, you know?
It for sure is, but at the same time, I guess it's... Especially being like... Stuff like this is like, when I went to university and stuff like and even before university, just like I've done school plays in England, I've seen like shit like... I was the deaf guy. Like, I'm the guy who's like, everyone else is just standing very still and very like, oh, I gotta make sure I remember my lines and gotta be polite, and like, they're very hard to get British people to like emote. Like, so like, I appreciate the energy of the deaf actor just being like, all right, let's fucking go. Yes, it doesn't fit the tone of the piece, but it was the one person that actually like gave me something to work with, you know. So I gotta give him props for that. If that alone, objectively you are 100% correct. Everyone else is doing something that is tonally more in the spirit of it, but they've also got the exact same facial expression for the entire time of the movie. So like, I've got to give him the dues when it comes to that. Just on a personal kind of like, doing productions like this that gave me nostalgia for it. I found a brother in arms there. I found someone who like actually tried to flail around a little bit. I appreciate.
Well, it's just
that.
like, it's funny because one of my criticisms from the way it's shot perspective was like, man, it's weird that like you see Death's face, because they seem to go to such great lengths to, you know, have him hooded and everything. And I was sitting there like, well, if he wasn't fucking moving around so much, it probably wouldn't have been a goddamn problem. So it was just kind of funny how much the acting was at odds with the piece. But you're right, like the acting here is very stiff, very wooden for the most part. It's funny because I think their best actor is the guy with like probably the least amount of screen time, I think, ? You know, it's a bad line, but like the guy just has a better look to him. He's got a better physical performance. He's in a bar, and like, I love the introduction to the scene. It was like, one of the brothers got drunk at a bar and bragged about the wand. And the guy who's bragging about the wand is just talking. He's not like acting drunk or boisterous at all.
That's what you don't understand. That is how British people act when they're drunk.
Oh, okay.
That's the drunk British person here. Is they just get, well, I had the wand, didn't I? And then anyone could fight me anymore. That's exactly a drunk British man.
100%. Okay.
It's so funny to me.
Maybe I guess I'll throw out this criticism. Maybe it's too real for the sake of what you're doing. Because like the other guy, he's not like, you know, slurring his words and like falling across tables or anything like that. But he's got like a looseness to him in that scene, and he's
more relaxed.
Yeah, he's more relaxed. Like, I can tell that guy's more comfortable being on camera. Is I guess the criticism I do. And so he, like, even though his lines are kind of awkward, like, it's, you know, really, really harsh, you know, crooked, shove this in this hole, fit, damn you, fit, reference to Ollivanders, which is the wand shop. And I mean, to be fair, Ollivanders in the book says it's been open since like 3000 BC, so I guess, but at the same time, it feels like awkward the way it's brought up. And his other line, it's like, we'll see. What was that? Oh no. I said, we'll pee, because I wanted to go to the bathroom, and I sometimes I need someone there. Like, it's just the dialogue scripting for that was super awkward, but the guy sells it as best he can, and then when like he comes in there to steal the wand and everything, like I like his energy. I think he is probably the best actor in the piece, and it is kind of a shame that he's not cast as any of the brothers. That being said, again, fan film, maybe that friend or that guy, however they knew him, could only do one day of it. And this is probably something that required multiple days. Not like months, but a couple days, I bet you. So I always try to consider that with things. I think the other actor-related complaint that I have is it's just, again, it's such a simple get, it would seem. And the story requires it, and yet they don't do it. And that's he lived to a ripe old age. Like, he lived an extra week? What? Like, it's just, it's the same actor. Like, they didn't really try to age him up at all or anything. Like, I think he might have a little bit more peach fuzz or whatever. Like, just ask one of your dads to do it. Like, he doesn't even have to talk, really. You could have gotten away with just a silent moment of that scene and been fine.
Or if you're doing this or ask the teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just stuff like that. I'm like, it's an awkward choice. That is something I would like. Again, for fan films, one of the things I always say, especially with actors, is you get who you can get, and sometimes that's just your friends. But at the same time, when the point of the story is he avoided death until he was a ripe old man ready to die, and you've still got the same kid that got the cloak at the beginning of the film, that's actually a legitimate problem. At that point, like, even I will go this far. Let's say that they absolutely could not find another actor. Okay, you know what? Sometimes shit just does not work out. A fucking gray wig and like hunching over or something would have, and like shooting it from a distance, like give him a cane, have him physically act old, shoot it from a distance so you can't see it great. Don't like do close-ups on the face, just do him handing the cloak over to a child and then walking away with death from a distance, and that would give you everything you need. Like, these are things that you have to think about when your limitations are such a factor. Is, okay, so I can't necessarily do it the way I want to because I can't get the actor for it. How can I do it and have it still make sense? Or how can I do it and do justice to the piece? And I think that's, again, I didn't think of that as I was watching it. I didn't think of that before we started talking. I thought of that as I was discussing ways to make it work. And you've got to spend more time on that side of things, on the workshopping of ideas. Because I don't think that's like a godsend, only my mind would be brilliant enough to come up with that. I really do think that they could have found a better way to do that final scene. And unfortunately, that final scene is like the crux of the whole piece to me. That's probably the piece that lets it down the most for me. Like, I can forgive stiff acting. I can forgive certain choices, like to not show them cross the river that they're supposed to have crossed to cheat death. But like that's what do you think? I know you're not a Harry Potter fan. What do you think just of the story itself, of the tale?
So, like, the story itself is, and I checked this as well, it's an adaptation of a short story written by J.K. Rowling in the Harry Potter universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is canon.
Yep.
Written by the author herself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Harry Potter sucks. Harry Potter is the most boring ass fictional universe ever created. I don't know what the fucking deal. I don't get it. I really just don't get it. This is the most fucking, like, this is a story that has been told 1,000 different times. So I'm not gonna say, oh, it's unoriginal. That's fine. It's fine to tell like this trope of like meeting death and the different stories of like how people avoid death or how arrogance undoes, or like these are all like mythical and like tales, fairy like tropes. Everyone's done them. Everyone should get to do them. That's fine. What I hate about Harry Potter and what I hate about J.K. Rowling's writing style is she always chooses to do the most fucking bare bones, boring ass take on anything she touches with it. Like, this is the most, he avoided death until he had old age, and that's it. We don't know anything about his life, anything he did he have any, he was deaths with an equal and all of that. It's just like, no, it's just the beat. It's just purely the beat is all we get told from it, and that's something other writers who do that beat will add shit to it to make the character more interesting, to make that final resolution hit harder.
I guess I'd say, in fairness, the way that this is presented in the book is it's kind of like that fable of a thing that was probably more interesting, and when they talk about these three brothers and the Deathly Hallows, because that's what this is. When Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows is these three mystical items: the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, the Invisibility Cloak. Harry has the Invisibility Cloak. Spoilers. Dumbledore had the Elder Wand. Bam, more spoilers.
I remember those two aspects. I didn't remember the third one because I don't think I've watched that much. But I remember the Elder one and the cloaking.
So when they talk about these three brothers in the book, in the films and stuff, they go into the idea that like this tale is just hundreds of years later, it's boiled down, it's all allegory now, but the three brothers were like great wizards, and they each created these things. They didn't meet death, they were trying to figure out how to beat death. And like, did you watch Order of the Phoenix, the film?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You remember like that arch thing that Gary Oldman like falls into? No. Like it's how Gary Oldman dies, quote unquote, in Order of the Phoenix. Is they're having like this big battle in the Ministry of Magic, and like he falls back into this archway, and like it seems like he should be able to just walk right through it, but like he falls back into it, and you kind of see like his spirit leave his body, and it's like, what the fuck. And they talk about in Deathly Hallows, like, they think that the brother that had the Resurrection Stone made that because he was obsessed with trying to get this person that died back. And so the idea that, like, they got these items physically from death is all just fable, and that the like, brothers were just great magicians or great wizards who physically made these things. So in all fairness, it does go into it more than this story. This story is intentionally supposed to be very, very brief, to just give like a like in-universe mythology to the mystical objects.
Okay. And like, but like you saying that though, I feel like almost validates me more for my issue with it. It's because they do that shit all the time in Harry Potter as well. Oh no, there's a more interesting, and like, to be fair, other fucking writers do, like George R.R. Martin is fucking the guilty of this as well. But there's oh no, there's a more interesting thing of this story. We're not going to tell you that version though. We're going to tell you the boring version. You, just wait though. That was such a cool thing that you'll never see and will never show. But this is like what you get to see. This is the good part that you get. But like, oh no, just trust me. Just trust me. I could write a better version of this. I'm not going to, but I could. Believe my hype. It was like, fuck you. I just can't stand that level of, I don't know, it's just that level of, it feels like cheating to me. It feels like you are using the implication of a better idea to kind of hype up what you're actually capable of in an artificial way. It doesn't feel earned, it doesn't feel that you yourself have any imaginative ideas. And I know that's like harsh and everything, but also J.K. Rowling's a fucking piece of shit, so I really don't care about hurting her feelings. But like this, it's something I have with Harry Potter. All like, dude, the moment this fucking started, and like I was already like, the moment I saw like how it was shot and like the actors and stuff, I was like, oh okay, so it's gonna be kind of low budget, kind of like student, because I read the descriptions. So I was on board for that. I was like, all right, so the story is just pay attention to the narration. That's what the story is, and the visuals and stuff will be its own separate rating. It's like it's how we kind of did the Justice League Mortal thing as well. But dude, the moment they were like, oh yeah, if we three pool our powers together, we might be able to make a bridge. Oh, like that is the most Harry Potter fucking sentence I've ever heard in my life. It's the fucking piss and baby. We suck at magic, but we're gonna pretend it's actually cool level shit, and I just can't. I just
See,
can't.
I think that might be an original line to the script.
If it is, then they've captured the energy extremely well as an adaptation.
Because I don't remember like the bridge being like a difficult thing to do. I think it was just like, oh yeah, we'll just build a bridge to cross here. It's fine. We're wizards. We're great. And I think the implication is more that like, you know, human like muggles are dying in the thing. But yeah, it's.
Because I don't know, man. Because I remember how Voldemort and Dumbledore are portrayed, and the average magician in Harry Potter. I imagine they'd be fucking sweating if they had to make a bridge as well. I don't know. Carpentry seems like a tough task for them.
My word. Oh, the sass. It's fun to hear Alfie talk, because, like, usually you're so soft on everything, and you'd be like, well, you know, the writer's intentions are so pure, and now you're just like, no, I've saved this for this moment right here.
This is a very specifically, to anyone listening, this is like my fucking Rosetta Stone. This is just the fucking years of growing up in this environment. It being praised with people sucking its dick and all of that is just it's made me like irrationally bitter about it. Like there's no like I'm purely just here to dunk on Harry Potter. Not these guys, again, I do want to emphasize this. These guys being Harry Potter fans, you liking the stuff you do and you making this such a thing, I think that's a cool idea. I want to go back to your point of like this is a very good pick for an adaptation of like, because like someone I think would have made the mistake of like, if you're a Harry Potter fan, you're like, oh, why don't we do like an adaptation of a scene from the book, or like the Dumbledore Voldemort fight, or like something like just ridiculous that you would not be able to. This is a very good. It's got a clear structure. Most of it's narration. It's all implied in kind of vagaries, so you can get away without showing a lot. It's death as a fixture in film is often very representative of not actually doing anything, just the presence of it, the implication of it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So I do agree. That's really good pick for an adaptation on their part. It's just a shame that J.K. Rowling can't fucking write.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily agree with the story itself, the fable, being like really flat or really boring. I like it perfectly fine. It's not like my favorite thing in the world, especially from Harry Potter, but I enjoyed it. I think it's a neat little, I don't know, it's a neat little piece of world building, and that's basically what I think most people gravitate toward Harry Potter for, is just world building, tiny details, stuff like this. Because you get shit like that all the time, where there's like a whole story for why this painting is this way, and yada yada. And I liked it in that regard. And I think some of the choices here are clever, because just the way that like death claims them with their own hubris, in your arrogance, like I don't know, like I wish for the most powerful wand ever. Okay, fine. And then you die because, you know, now people know you have the most powerful wand ever, so you're just like, you're killed in your sleep. I thought that was good. The one I do legitimately like, I do legitimately think this is like a clever way to do this thing. I don't care if it's been done a million times, it's clever a million times. Was I wish I could have this girl back that I was in love with. And you do. You get her back. But she's been dead for so long, she has nothing to do in the living world. And that is just so fucking depressing, that like the thing you'd apparently been hoping and dreaming for your whole life, and it's just like living with a living with a fucking shadow of that person is worse than living with their memory, you know? I thought that was legitimately clever, and the fact that it drives him to suicide, and that's how death claims him. I liked that. I thought that was... I will defend that as a legitimately good story beat. I don't care if it's been done before or better elsewhere. I still think it's legitimately well done here.
I think that's definitely the strongest of the three in terms of having something new to say to something or adding anything. I still think it is just that level of to make something like that work. I feel like there's like more of an emotional hit that is missing, and I can't, again, this is me also not being a good writer because I can't just like think of it on the fly and describe it, but like there's like a beat to that thing of like the search, the recovery, and then the resolution, like the reveal of like, oh no, it's the thing you got wasn't actually the monkey's paw situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that works with like lost loves and all of these things. I feel that there's still there's some beats missing of like what else he tried, you know, of like to show the desperation of the thing before finally succumbing to death. I feel like there's more that you to make that work is something that if they're physically there to get the horror of it, you do need to kind of dwell on it a little bit more than that. So, and I obviously know for the structure of the piece and it meant to be like you described, like these are just tales of what they've got left of and not meant to be literal compared to like the story of these three great wizards and all of that. But I still think like you can do that in like an extra paragraph or two to really kind of emphasize that and to prove it. But
again, and
yeah,
I think the thing you might be slipping up on is the narration for her is... I'd have to go back and check it, but I'm pretty sure the narration is all the narration it gets, and they're trying their best to like visualize and show it. And so like the dialogue that the brothers have, because I'm not 100% confident about this, but I'm going to say that I don't think the brothers actually have any dialogue in the story. And so like all the dialogue that they have, the moment where like he's with the girl and he's like, is the food okay? Like that is the filmmaker trying to portray exactly what you're talking about, trying to extend that out and show it and show it. So I guess if like obviously the narration probably isn't enough to really sit with what that would be like. But I guess my argument would be that the film probably fails at that too.
yeah, okay. I think that's a fair assumption to go for. Of like that is when you have an adaptation, and if you are adding them, like you say, if the dialogue is the stuff that added, then there definitely is a disconnect between the dialogue and the narration, and this is your chance to flesh things out more, to what I assume is like maybe a page or two in the actual book. This is your chance to like make that like 10 minutes ish, about 12 minutes actually. You can add more little scenes of that. You can add those tender moments, those tender shots, and even stuff that isn't like, I think something that this does well with that story is I do think how the hanging is shown. It's rough. It's clearly, again, still lack of experience, lack of being able to light in just the location of the forest is very hard. But the good thing is it's always kind of moody, hanging weather in England, so you're fine. So it's never going to look sunny. So you're always going to look depressing in forest.
That's sad.
So, man, I mean, it's kind of peaceful in some ways as well, though. It's not entirely negative, but it's true. It's you didn't have to pick what time of day to do it. Let's just say that. But like, I think that's all well done. Like how they do the showing the hanging without showing the hanging, and then the dangling of the legs and everything like that shows you put some thought in how to shoot that. The nice touch of the chair is kicked over to show that he kicked it. Even obviously you don't want to hang your actor, so I think that was a good thing of where probably closest to the narration and the what was on screen paired with each other the most seamlessly. Again, it's still not seamlessly, but compared to everything else, I think that's very commendable, especially for what this is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. There's things that, like, obviously this is a rougher one. This is a harder fan film to get through, or not even necessarily hard. This is more of a you're more aware of what you're watching. There's no way I could look at this and honestly say, oh yeah, they could have put this in the movie instead of the animated bit that they did. Like, it's not up to anywhere near that level of quality. But there's interesting things to learn and to see, and just to, look back on and stuff. Because I am kind of curious. I didn't have the time to go through the guy's YouTube and see, like, what else he'd done since this. I don't know if he'd done anything else. I mean, like, for being uploaded in 2012, he's got 350,000 views on this. That's pretty crazy. But I don't know. I don't know. He really only did, like, he did a 5-minute cut? Oh no, he did an outtakes cut. Okay. And then that was it. That was the last thing he ever uploaded. It's the trailer for this, and then the outtakes, and everything before that is like fucking band videos and stuff. It's pretty funny that there's, I have no idea what happened after this.
I mean, I want to say as well, because we've been talking about this as he, but just looking at the channel.
Oh, Charlotte, you're right.
Yeah, it's Charlotte Hawkins is the narrator, is the, I assume, director.
Okay, yep, my bad. I didn't even think of that.
But because I think I made that mistake as well. But just when I was looking on the channel, they've got a documentary of themselves and stuff. But yeah, it's Charlotte is the one behind the camera and the narrator, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean,
normally when you're in charge of these projects, you do end up as the narrator because you're the only one who's free enough to do all that recording.
Yeah, I mean, shit, man. I'm surprised. Usually, you end up as the star.
Well, wait till that other project comes out. That'll be my chance.
Yeah, there you go. But otherwise, I don't know. I thought it was an interesting thing, and I'd be curious to see what they've done since. And it's kind of disappointing to not see anything else up on the channel. But, some people just move on and do other things, or sometimes this was just like a little side project and they weren't really interested in doing much beyond that, and that's okay too. It was just an interesting watch. There's something to be learned from everything like this, and I thought this is a good example of kind of pitfalls that people fall into, but also there's some shine here and there that was worth talking about. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about with this one?
Harry Potter's dog shit. That's about it. No, we covered everything.
Oh, you're just mad that fucking, like, not every week there was some epic bullshit going on because it's all fucking kids, Alfie.
No, what a shame that would be, huh?
Mm-hmm. All right. Alfie, what are we reviewing next time? Put you on the spot like crazy tonight.
We'd take it to the Britishness of fan film still, but with the one British thing export that I actually do like. And we're going to do the Doctor Who fan audio drama called Essential Supplies, which is a crossover between the 9th Doctor and the 12th Doctor.
Oh man, that sounds so mad.
Very, very northern.
It just sounds like so angry. Why don't you just die?
I've always, yeah, exactly. I've always been wanting to see it. So, and it's got quite a lot of views. It's got 57k views. It's 2 parts. So, that we'll be talking about next time.
All right, sounds good. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I, the champion of the oppressed.
And we are your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.
J.K. Rowling is a